If I ruled the world, imagine that today on the Mars Mindset, it being Monday, 3/11. If you ruled the world, what would you do? What would it look like? What would you change? What would you add? What would you take away? What would your world look like if you ruled it? That's what we're going to discuss today on the Mars Mindset. Before we delve into that, if you are on the Instagram world, type power in the comments, book your free consultation. Don't book two, just book one. Hey, that's a good point. Tar, I just sent you the link. Tori, that's a really good point. And if you are on the Zoom, then I will be posting the link throughout the episode. So Nas is my favorite rapper. Nas is the greatest rapper of all time. So today we're going to do an ode to Nas. And if you ruled the world, what would it look like? So who wants to go first? Who wants to rule? Whose world is this? The world is yours. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Illmatic is the greatest hip hop album of all time. It's not up for debate. Not for the next hour. I'll go with Keisha. I never talk to Keisha first anymore. Julie, you unmuted. Julie, you got something to say?
I was trying to figure out my audio. Sorry.
Keisha, come here, Keisha.
Not Keisha.
Come here, Keisha. I want to talk to you for a second. Keisha, if you ruled, how you, well, we exchanged pleasantries already. If you ruled the world, what would you change? What would you keep?
Lord. I'm stuck.
You good with it? You like it the way it is?
No, not really, but I mean, it's like it's a cause and effect to everything. So it's like it may be things that I don't like, but if I change them, what else would that change? Just off changing things that I don't care for.
Okay, so let's not get down in the weeds, right?
Yeah.
So don't worry about the second and third order consequences, right? Because we can map that's an infinite amount of outcomes. I just mean in general, like if there's certain things you would change or add or keep, like certain things you really like.
Mm-hmm.
What you do, don't worry about, but if this happens, then that. If that happens naturally in the conversation, then so be it. But that's not how I don't mean to question in that way.
Okay. I think in government, like your right to have somewhere to live and be able to eat. I think in education, and if I ruled the world, those things would be free. You wouldn't have to worry about housing being so expensive to the point where you can't afford it. You wouldn't. It's just those things. I understand social service, but it's not really. It's I don't even know how to explain it. It's like there shouldn't be homelessness. There shouldn't be people that are hungry because they're out here working. It should just be an easier method to make sure that um, your basic necessities are met. When it comes to education, I feel like education should be free. I feel like you shouldn't have to worry about healthcare. A lot of those things should be easily accessible versus the way that they are now.
Okay, so there would be nobody homeless. Free
Well,
healthcare.
say nobody because some people choose to be homeless.
Yeah. I got you. I ain't nitpicking you. I mean, if you want to go live on the beach, go live on the beach. It's all good. You want to live in the trees? That's cool. But you mean everyone has the option of housing?
Yes, housing. It's like all of those things I feel go together for the reasons why one thing or the other thing and so forth. And mental health would be like up there very strong to be addressed. So if this world was ruled by me, those things would be very important to find a better way. So many people aren't going without and then stressing and struggling and existing in life versus living it, just trying to stay afloat.
Right. I got you. I like that. I can dig it. I can dig it. Julie got her hand up. Julie, you got a response for Keisha, or you just wanted to answer the question?
I don't know that I necessarily have a response. I have my own opinions on them, but you know, those are her opinions. So I was just gonna answer the question.
Oh, okay. Well, give us a short response to Keisha, and then you can give us what you would do to rule the world.
I just wonder, like, it doesn't have to be an unrealistic thought, right? Like, I see mental health services all over the place, and I see resources everywhere. So I just wonder, like, how Keisha experiences life, or in general, how people experience life versus how I experience life. Because to me, those resources are out there. It's just a matter of people willingness to go out there and find the resources. Like, we can't force people to go get therapy, but the services are out there, you know what I mean? So I don't I was a little bit confused about that part. Like, I think there's mental health services available to people. um I just I see day in and day out where people would just bury the issue and just keep on with their lives instead of pausing to address it and do the work.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think because the conversation is more so just about what you would want to see. And we've had similar conversations before. It's the implementation. And the second, that's why Keisha said, that's why she said it was so difficult, because she's talking about the second and third order consequences of implementing certain things. So a lot of the times, the left-leaning and right-leaning debates about what we should do with tax dollars and stuff like that, that if you go to one extreme or the other, they have second and third order consequences. And everybody knows that. And that's why they try to find, the idea is really to find the happy medium, but nobody's ever happy. So,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
yeah.
I mean,
And
Julia,
I
you
was thinking about it too, like, if I rule the world, oh yeah, can you hear me better
yeah, I can
now?
hear you. Yeah, you a little bit better. Go ahead. I can't hear you at all.
Oh, it sounds kind of mean, but oh my goodness, you can't hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, I would, if I would rule the world, I would put like people who don't want to do anything with their lives on an island by themselves.
You mean like Australia?
Sure.
Isn't that how Australia
Wherever.
came to be? Didn't like Great Britain or something send all their prisoners to Australia, and that's how Australia came? I mean, not to say the prisoners weren't doing anything, but I mean they took a specific group of people and they sent them to the island, and then they were like, "Oh nah, we good now. We about to build our own shit." So
But
you
I would, but yeah, that's what I would do. Like I would give those people the option to like go live on an island with like-minded people and just do nothing with your life over there.
okay? And then so you're gonna keep all the productive people in one space and all the non-productive people in another space.
Yes.
Okay, I just have one question for you. If someone, like, let's say someone is productive, but they don't generate revenue, which island do they go to? Like an
No, and
artist.
but I'm not talking about revenue. I'm talking about like pouring into the community, you know, in any way, like whatever, you know, you're good at, you know, like the free services, like teach, if you're an artist, you know, go do community service and like teach children how to paint or what, like the people who want to see the community like grow and flourish and like elevate, I would put them together.
Okay.
Because money, to me, right? Money, there's going to be people who create revenue and generate revenue. There's always going to be people who need to work to make money, right? So it's just like a cycle. But I feel like in society, we have a group of people that don't want to do anything. They don't want to work. They don't want to contribute in any other way either. Like my daughters right now. Like I would put them on an island. They can go figure it out on their own because I feel like everyone should contribute somehow. And I'm not only speaking about monetarily, but like if you're good at something, go do some community hours and volunteer so people can learn a new skill. So that way the cycle of growth and development would continue.
Okay. Got you. So Julie's separating the doers from the non-doers. Like if you're contributing, then you're good. If you're not contributing, you got to go over there and just figure it out. But I mean, if you took everyone who did nothing and put them on an island, somebody's going to start doing something because they got to eat.
That's the point. That's the point. That is my point. At some point, you're going to be surrounded by so many non-doers that you're going to have to make a choice and start doing. And then you can come back.
Okay, I got you. Now I got one more question. For those people who can't do they get to stay with the productive people?
Well, if you can't do, like, why? Because there's a physical
you got
problem?
you got like a disability or something.
No, I'm not talking about those things. I'm just talking about bodily able people, regular people who can, work or whatever, go to school, get an education, learn a craft. I'm talking about those people. No, if you can't physically do something and you need help, we should have people to provide that help to those people because they can't do anything.
Okay. So far we have Keisha, who has solved homelessness and the healthcare crisis and the education crisis, and Julie, who has given all the non-productive citizens of the world their own parent. Casey, is parasitical a word?
Let's see.
Their own parent?
Let's see. A like parasite.
No, not parasite, like paradise, but as an adjective. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Paradise is the adjective. It's an adjective. So it's an adverb. It's an adjective and a noun.
Oh, okay. So I can't say paradisical.
I mean, if you want to make words, we were known to do that.
It's all good. Well, I mean, people make up words and they end up in a dictionary. So who knows? Maybe I'll have my opportunity.
You can call it idyllic. That's a synonym.
Idyllic?
Idyllic. Mm-hmm.
Really? Oh, okay. I'm going to implement that one into my vernacular. And I'm going to use it this week. And y'all can let me know how I do. All right, Casey.
Oh, I guess since I'm off mute, huh? If I rule the world,
Imagine that.
we can only pick one thing.
Nah, just do what you want to do, Casey. I mean, don't go reconstructing the whole shit because I ain't got
Oh,
so much time.
I'm not.
The things that are near and dear to Casey Venning's heart.
Yeah. Well, one thing would be I would give all formerly incarcerated folks who have completed their entire, requirements for paying back society the right to vote. Like, I don't understand why, and I know some states do, but I've served all my time, I've completed all my probation, and yet I still can't vote. So I would give folks that have, fulfilled all of the requirements the court has mandated that they automatically get their right to vote back. It's restored back to them. And then I think the other thing that I would do, because I'm also trying not to repeat stuff that's been said, I think the other thing that I would do, and I've said this before too, is that I don't think any child should go hungry. Now, there are some grown-ups who make poor choices. Okay, figure it out. If it's a result of your poor choice.
Julie
But
got an island over here for y'all. Julie got, you
Yep.
can put Julie's Island.
yep, going over there. But for a child should not go hungry ever for any reason at all.
Okay, I got you. So no child hunger. And I've actually heard I've heard people on both sides of the political aisle argue that felons should regain their right to vote. So I don't know why that's something that hasn't happened. Now, I was scrolling, I don't know if it was YouTube or Instagram the other day, and I saw they were on the street and there was this guy, and the title was basically saying that he was a liberal. And it was saying that the liberal was arguing against, he wasn't arguing against a conservative, he was arguing against another liberal. And his argument was, how are you giving illegal immigrants the right to vote in local elections, but we haven't given American citizens that have paid taxes and contributed to the system their rights to vote back? And I found that to be an interesting argument to make.
I do agree with that point, but I will say just quick so we don't derail. The reason it has not happened, and this is just a theory that most people argue as well, is that because disproportionately the number of incarcerated folks are Black males, there's the assumption that they will likely be Democrat. And so in an effort to control which party is getting what votes, it's just easier not to let them vote.
That's interesting. I kind of wondered, like, something that I've kind of wondered, not so much about that, but in terms of who's allowed to vote and who isn't allowed to vote. Like let's say California is like, whoever wants to vote, you can just vote. But we all know California is going one way. So what does it really
Matter?
I'm talking in terms of outcomes. Now, in terms of fairness, I personally don't believe that I don't think non-Americans should vote in American elections. Right?
I agree with that.
I don't think that should be the case. I think that opens any country up to being influenced by outsiders, right? Like, who's to say that they can't just filter a bunch of people into, say, Ohio or Florida or any of the ones that always shift the election in a way that's advantageous for one of our enemies, right? That just doesn't make sense to me. So to me, if you ain't American, you ain't a citizen, you shouldn't be voting. And how you gonna come here? How you got here? You're not a citizen, and then you gonna vote? What you gonna do with my tax money? Oh, hell
Well,
no.
I feel like they need to give DC residents y'all's full right before they go giving other people, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, they do DC dirty. And at one point I was kind of reading on that. I never fully grasped, because one of the arguments, they talk about like how it would create an imbalance, but then Maryland and Virginia gave up land for
Yep.
DC to be made. And so one of the arguments I've heard too is that, well, if you break the vote, take the DC votes and add them to the Maryland vote and add them to the Virginia vote or something like that. But people in DC, they damn sure getting taxed. They taxing that ass. So Tory said, but the majority of us are immigrants, even though they don't admit. Most people are immigrants. But
we have citizenship, so I mean.
Yeah, and I think it makes me think, like, regardless of how it came to be, the idea that we have a country now, right? We have a country, we have rules, we have regulations, we have laws, we have elections. I'm telling you, young, you don't want just anybody just coming into your shit just voting. Either which way. Good stuff. So we're working our way through it. What's up, Steph? Steph got a job interview on Thursday. Steph, did you get the link?
Hey, yep, I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
I copied and pasted it into my email and I'll look at it later.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it'll be in the members area too once I catch up. I'm only like 2 or 3 joints behind, so I'm not too far behind, but all good. So Steph is gonna do great on her job interview on Thursday because she's been coached by the greatest. Who was it? Keisha, Mimi, Julie, Casey. It was in the comments.
Pod.
Pod. Oh, did a
Lil.
really good job. Yeah, I said Lil was in the comments. Did a really good job of coaching her up. So good stuff. Cindy said, if you're not Native American, we're all immigrants per history. Yeah, we're immigrants, but we ain't gonna
All
get
of us.
giggly. Fuck that. Oh, I'm staying. I ain't going nowhere. I'm about to get everything I can from this MF. Anyway, Steph, if you rule the world, what are you doing? You changing some things? You keeping some things? What are you doing?
If I rule the world, I'm flipping everything on its head.
The whole thing?
The whole thing. I'm lowering the voting age to 18.
It is 18.
No, I'm lowering the voting age lower than 18
Okay.
because it's not fair that next generations get to put up with the stuff that we put in place and we ain't got to be here to see what happens. So they should have a voice. That's the first thing I'm doing. And in doing that, it might actually improve some of the systems that need to be improved, like schools and healthcare and whether or not children get fed, et cetera, et cetera. I'm also making transportation like public transportation mandatory in all 50 states. Mandatory. Be it train, bus, subway, whatever. Just trust me when I tell you that like I would take how the system is in DC and like put it everywhere as far as transportation goes. Because I've been up there and I
DC
know
now.
like
DC isn't free though.
I didn't say it was gonna be free. I said
Oh.
I would put it everywhere.
You saying you would have like the ability to be able to move throughout the country, it would be everywhere. I got you. Makes sense. Got you.
Yes. So like if I wanted to come to DC from where I live right now, I wouldn't have to first go to Milwaukee or go to Chicago. I could do it from where I am now.
You would have more connecting points.
Yes.
Okay, I hear you. Yeah,
And
the
it'd be,
accessibility, right?
and it'd be everywhere.
Okay.
And then there would be more city planning that included true accessibility.
Okay. I hear you. I hear you on that. I hear you on that. What was the first thing you said?
About voting.
Oh, yeah.
Lowering,
How
lowering the
what would the age be?
I think it should be you're at least 16 years old.
16, you lowered to 16. Okay,
Yep.
got you. I don't know if I agree with that.
How come?
I don't know if 16 is pretty young to vote. I tell you where I would negotiate, right? I enjoy negotiations.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that this is equal and fair or whatever the case may be. I'm saying if
Right.
you were on one side of the argument and I were on the other and you wanted me to come to the table, the only thing I think, or the main thing that I think I may be willing to give a concession on is if a 16-year-old is, if someone is working, if they're under 18 and they're working and they're paying taxes, I would be okay with them casting a ballot because they are contributing to the system. So
Okay.
the idea that I contribute to a system, but I don't get to vote what happens with the money within that system, that's unfair.
Right. Right. And most most young people that I know start working at 15 years old.
Yeah, I mean, okay, cool. Like I said, that's where I would probably be like, if you're talking about them, that's cool. But I don't think I would agree to just let all 16-year-olds vote. I'm not really comfortable with the idea of like the idea that the 18-year-old can go to war and fight war and die for the country but can't have a beer. To me, that just seems off too. I've never thought about it deeply, like which one I think it should be. but I just think that's unfair. Like, oh, you can go die for your country, but you can't have a beer on your front porch. What?
Right.
Um,
Well, it used to be 18. I'm not sure why they raised it to 21.
I don't know.
I'd have to do more research and get back to you. But I know that the drinking age used to be 18.
Yeah, I don't yeah, what do they call it? It's like and I could be wrong, but they're like cognitive dissonances, I guess. Where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you'll train me to be a trained killer for the government, but when it comes to my own choices, you're gonna dictate what it is that I can or can't do. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, I don't really, that just doesn't really sit well. It doesn't sound fair. So, but okay, yeah, 16 and voting. Wow, first time I remember the first time I voted was November the 6th, 2000, and I voted for Al Gore. And that whole
Mm-hmm.
shit, wow.
Yeah, you and I had similar. I'm trying to think back I think that was the first election I voted in too.
Yeah, that was the first one I voted in. I voted for, if I run through them, I voted for Al Gore, uh, maybe John Kerry.
Mm-hmm.
I voted for Hillary. I voted for Barack
Mm-hmm.
2 times. Who else? I feel like I'm missing somebody on the Democrat side.
I don't think so.
And I voted
I
for
think
Trump. Maybe that's all of them.
I think you got them all.
Okay. Yeah.
One day
Clinton,
we're
I
gonna
voted. I said Clinton. I voted for Hillary. I voted for Hillary. I think I got all of them. Either which way. So yeah, good stuff. All right, Steph. Steph gonna have connecting trains everywhere.
Dr. Hawkins, when I think Chels and I would have been like 12 when Bill Clinton.
Yeah, nah. I ain't voting.
Yeah, we weren't old enough to vote for Clinton yet.
Nah, I voted for Hillary.
About-
I voted for Hillary. Trump was the first. Trump was the first Republican nominee that I ever voted for, and then so I voted for Hillary because Hillary ran against Trump the first time, right? So Hillary ran against Trump. I voted for Hillary. After that, I became more involved in politics, and I realized, oh no, I'm an independent.
Yeah, me too.
This is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. Me being affiliated is not gonna work. And I ain't trying to
Me
waste time.
too.
But the thing that sucks about being an independent is you don't get to vote in the primaries, right?
No, you don't
not-
unless they're on the ballot.
No, so like when I went, so like in the Democrat primaries and the Republican primaries, you don't get to vote in either of those. So if there happens to be a candidate that you would advocate for on either side, if you're an independent, you don't get to vote in those. You have to pick one of those. You have to pick a political party in order to be able to vote for the primaries. So when I went to vote for the primaries, here down in Maryland, I only got to vote on one thing, and it wasn't a person, it was an issue. And I'm like, shit, man, you know, it was a waste of my time. So, but I think I'm good with being independent. So, whatever. Anyway, good stuff, Steph. So Steph gonna have us on the train to everywhere. I'm gonna take the train to Montana and go chill out. Who else we got? Mimi crocheting. Let's get Mimi while she's sitting still doing her crocheting thing with her modern woman nails. If I ruled the world, I would make modern woman nails. I would outlaw all modern woman nails.
These aren't even modern women. They're very short.
The
They
color,
cut them too short.
the color.
Oh, the color.
Ma'am, your grandmother. Let me go red pill on you. Let me go red pill on you. I got my red shirt on today. Ma'am, would your grandmother wear that color nails?
No, but she would have worn bright red, and I don't wear bright red.
Bright red,
so
I know you don't wear bright red because bright red is traditional, ma'am.
no,
Green.
no, sir. Bright red
Mint-
is a harlot. Bright
mint
red
green.
is associated with
I'm not talking,
Jezebels.
ma'am. Don't make me get on my
Jezebels.
Melissa. Don't
Red
make
is
me
for
get up. Don't,
Jezebels.
ma'am, I will shut this shit down. I will turn into Kevin Samuels on your ass.
That's the joy of it being your shit, right?
Oh my God, that's good. All right, Mimi, if you rule the world, what you doing?
I think I'm like Steph. I would try to shake it all up. I'm definitely taxing the rich. The billionaires are getting taxed. That's right off the top. They giving up their share of the money. I agree with Keisha completely. That's why I really didn't put up my hand, because a lot of what I think I would do has been said. But like Keisha, I would be trying to eradicate poverty. I would be trying to eradicate homelessness. I'd be trying to eradicate supremacy. Those would be my focus.
So I watched this, it might have been Trevor Noah or Jon Stewart. It was one of them, and they were kind of breaking down how the super wealthy, basically what they'll do is they own a company, they own all the shares, right? And then they will put their shares up as collateral to get a loan, bank, and then you don't have to pay taxes on a loan, and that loan to do whatever it is that they want to do, invest in more businesses and keep growing. Everybody does it. It's not a right thing. It's not a left thing. It's just a tax. It's a way. It's a loophole. It's a loophole. Yeah, it's a wealthy thing. It's a loophole thing. I've heard the Biden administration and probably other Democrat administrations talk about taxing unrealized capital gains. Is that something that you would try and figure out a way to do, or would you just be like, look, you would?
I'm taxing, period.
Are you taxing based on the amount?
The same thing everybody else get taxed based on, right? You're gonna get taxed based on how much you make. You're gonna get taxed based on the area in which you live. All the things that we apply to the average Joe is going to be applied to the Elon Musks of the world,
regardless of how they got it. So you wouldn't have a delineation. Are you against the flat tax?
It's not. No, I don't necessarily think I would go flat tax, but I think that the rules would apply across the board.
So you would. So you wouldn't have a different tax rate for income taxes than you do for, say, capital gains taxes.
Oh, no. Yeah, that would be different. But when I say there wouldn't be a difference, I'm talking about like it is now, right? Because I'm a billionaire and I don't pay taxes because I'm supposedly creating jobs and all this. No, everybody would be subject to some form of taxation. There would be no exemptions based on wealth.
Let's go one step further, but we ain't got to go deep down in the woods, right? Would you also implement some type of price ceilings on goods and services in order to stop? Because, you know, like, let's say you say, okay, we're gonna tax the rich people, and they're like, all right, that's cool. So your carton of milk that's, I guess, right now $4 now becomes 20. Would you cap that and be like, yo, you can't?
Yeah, there would be stipulations. There would be no gouging, just like there is not supposed to be price gouging now. So that would be, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make a knot that's not working. That would be one of my issues. And again, not something, because I've never thought about this, honestly. I've never sat around thinking about what would I do if I ruled the world in terms of like change, like ruling the government and all of that. I've never thought of that. When I hear when I rule the world, my mind follows up with I free all my sons. Right?
Love them, baby.
But sitting here now, those are some of the things that irritate me about the way the world works now, that I would absolutely look into everything I have to look into to make substantial changes. And the other big one is term limits.
Yes. Do y'all know that the most known person that I know of that most recently proposed term limits was actually Ted Cruz.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Yeah,
Ted Cruz proposed it, and that shit ain't going nowhere, right?
It's not going nowhere because again, it's the wealthy at the top that's benefiting from it.
They're in power.
So yeah, but that would be one of the first things I do, because these and age limits. That's term limits and age limits, because these old bastards running a country that they won't be here to be a part of, making decisions for a future they won't be actively contributing to, is disgusting to me. Like the thought of having to choose between Biden and Trump, who are both old enough and should be sitting in somebody's rocking chair somewhere, is disgusting to me.
So, Tori, I don't know the stipulations behind Ted Cruz's proposal, but I know that he's actually one of the ones who, because some of the stuff they actually agree upon. Some of the stuff they agree upon, like all right and left leaning people, they don't disagree on everything. He proposed it, but it's not going to happen because the people who are in there have been in there for so long.
forever, and
And
they're never
then
going to agree to
they're not good. Like who
cut
nobody.
themselves out.
Yeah, he who's in power is not just
Gonna
giving
give it up.
his power,
Right.
right?
Right.
It just doesn't work that way. So I guess it just is what it is. But they're not going for it. And because I saw an interview where he talked about it, and he did a really good job of explaining it, like Mimi was saying, explaining how it affects future generations and stuff like that. But he probably knew that sometimes if you pay attention, sometimes what they'll do is they'll throw things out there that they know aren't going to pass to unveil to unveil who stands where. And the idea, they won't come out and say it, but they'll unveil something so that you can see where your favorite or your not so favorite politician
Stands.
on the scale. And I remember Dr. E and I had a conversation one time, and I don't know if it was on live or not. And I told him, I said, if I was a politician, what I would do is I would propose, however Ted Cruz proposed it officially, or if I was the president and I say this is what we should do officially, I'd be like, bam, here go the reparations bill, or here go the reparation joint, who signed and who don't. And that way we can all see
who's with and who's against.
I don't care, you left, right, who falls where, let's see what's good, right? And then that way we know, but that's neither here nor there.
But that would be at the very top of my list, is getting rid of term limits and age limits. I mean, imposing age limits on governmental offices.
Gotcha.
But there's a lot of stuff I would do because, I'm a dreamer. I'm an idealist. So there's a lot of shit I would do if I ruled. Right?
And it doesn't have to be political, you know what I'm saying? It could be it could be something spiritual. Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
I wouldn't necessarily want to I tax churches. That's another one. I tax churches. That's another one. Oh,
really?
absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They get taxed now, not at the highest rate, but they get taxed.
At the highest rate. It depending on, like I said, well, for me, it's at the same rate based on income. Because some of these big ass mega $1 million churches, like Joel Osteen, who is admitted to making damn near $1 million every Sunday that he opens his doors. Yeah, bruh, you need that needs to get taxed real high.
Yeah, I agree with you. If it's not going back out the door, then
right. If it's not aiding the community, which it's not, that's why he got robbed that Sunday, because everybody knew the money was sitting in the vaults of the church.
He got robbed?
He got robbed a while back. Yeah, good chunk of change. Yeah, but Osteen. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Who, by the way, I used to like. I used to watch. I used to listen to, and then I changed. But anyway, stuff like that. But I mean, I think I would put a focus on arts, especially in schools. I would secure those. I would secure arts in the schools. I would make sure the funding for arts is in the schools, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Because I think that's important.
Okay, good stuff. Steph, what you got?
About taxing churches, I would do the same, but I would have it where either they help the community that they're in or they pay the highest tax bracket.
Would you tailor the percentage based on the amount of revenue that the church brings in, or would you just have a flat church tax?
I think it would be flat, because I would want them to help the community that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, because really, if the church did what the church is supposed to do, there should not be homelessness or poverty.
Okay, I got you. I just wondered if you were like, if you're a church, this your tax rate, or if you're a mega church, you got to hire one. And because what would happen if you taxed all of them at the same, then essentially you wouldn't have any small churches. That's just what it comes down to. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wait, no, then, because
right.
You need small churches just like you need big churches, but you need them all to be helping their communities.
Right. I'm with you there. I was just saying that in terms of the amount that you would charge, like, let's say you say, okay, we're going to charge all churches 30%, right? So if you have a church that brings in $100,000 a year, $30,000 is a lot of money, right? But if you have a church that brings in $1 billion a year, 30% of $1 billion, I mean, it's a lot of money, right? But they can still operate in some capacity. If you take, like, you take 30% of my money, I'm already pissed off. That's what I pay. I pay about 30-some%. And I'm like, well, goddamn, I could probably pay my house off in 10 years if you didn't fucking take all the goddamn money.
Right. So then yes, they should have a sliding scale based on income then.
Okay. All right. So I've watched one really good YouTube video that explained how a flat tax could work. I'm gonna watch it again, and then I'm gonna go back and watch the opposite argument to it and see what the argument is. If it's a like a logical mathematical argument, or if it's a moral argument. I'm interested in what the argument is for and against the flat tax. Julie, what you got?
What if the people in the community don't go to church?
Then that church ain't gonna get taxed but so much because they ain't gonna have no money in the first place, right?
But to
No,
me,
I'm referring.
you mean to them community, like helping in the community? Should they help the community if the community doesn't attend the church? Is that the question?
Yeah, because Steph said like there shouldn't be like homeless people in that community. So are you putting the responsibility on the church to make sure that there are no homeless people in the community that the church is in?
She said, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if I would go so far as to say that I'm putting it on the church, but I would say that whether the people in that community attend that church or not, if they are located in that community, then to some degree that community is their responsibility. And at the end of the day, that's what the church's goal is outreach to the community. That's how they would recruit members, is by showing the community that they have the community's best interest in mind. I can't think of the word. I know it's not outreach. Maybe it is community outreach, but most churches that I know of or that I've ever attended have work that's done in the communities for that very reason, for recruiting purposes, and not recruiting like, oh, we need a certain number, but how do we bring people to Jesus? We bring people to Jesus by being the example. So you go out into the community and you become the example. That's how I see expecting them to work in a community, whether the people actually attend their church or not.
Okay. So let's go Cindy, drinking her Dr. Pepper. We're gonna go Cindy and then Pod. Cindy, if you ruled the world, what would you do?
If I ruled the world, I'd be all for love. Doing the love thing. Getting rid of war and focusing on healing the world to a point.
How would you do that? In the most simplest, and what's your mission statement? So I Cindy am implementing love, peace, and whatever else by doing this.
By stopping all wars and trying to reframe how well I was gonna do if a billion people want to be assholes to each other, that's their God-given right.
So you jump into the island like Julie?
Send them on the island. Send those haters on the island where they don't do nothing. But yeah, I would start with trying to get the world to love one another again in the way that we should be to each other. But yeah, it'd be like go back to the 60s where love and peace and love and prosperity was the thing.
You know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I'd start with probably trying to stop with the drugs and stuff like that. You know, I don't know where exactly I would start, but if I ruled the world would be all peace and love.
Okay, I got you.
At least more than what it is now. So,
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw a statistic, and I know it was above 90%, and it said that for over 90+% of human history, there has been a war occurring.
yep.
I think it's very small, and I want to say it was high. Like it's only been 2% of human history where there hasn't been some war occurring. So it's like we've been fighting for a long time.
Yeah, I think we need to stop the wars and focus on humanitarian and love and compassion. And if anybody wants to continue war, then I'll use my world authority and God of thunder and lightning, and I will strike you dead where you stand.
So you gonna
I
call
won't
me?
send you on your own remote island. I'll bury you in the ocean. Let the sharks get you.
Oh, well, that sounds
Yeah.
that sounds
Huh?
American. That sounds
That
pretty
sounds
American. That
that
sounds
sounds like I'm
motherfucking
gonna.
like American.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're not gonna do what we want you to do. Oh, I got some bombs for you.
Yep. Well, we'll take care of those bombs. Let me get my my peeps, my underground peeps. But we're for the common good, so we'll be exempt. But and then of course we'll do love through the churches. I think that a lot of churches, like especially in my community, we have churches that hold backpack drives for kids when it comes to like back to school supplies and little carnivals to bring, you know, advertising and food drives and stuff like that. So, but I do agree with Mimi that the those really big ones, there needs to be a religious tax. However, with the archdiocese, that's going to be kind of hard to implement because the Catholic Church is always in debt, and the archdiocese is always bailing them out from Rome, and each church has its own debt with the archdiocese. So taxing the churches is kind of, it's going to be a tough one, but I could see where it would be necessary. Maybe a low income for the low poverty line churches in small rural communities as to the, you know, bigger ones.
If they're that poor, sell the Vatican and move and relocate.
Yeah, well, they
And
really
I'd make
closed down
the
churches
the
because of that.
underground, what is it, underground vaults of the Vatican, I'd make them open to the public. A lot of secrets, a lot of secrets down there.
Yeah, they say that's where the juicy stuff is.
True.
That's what they say.
True.
I don't know about that. I'm just an Instagrammer just on the come up.
But I would move the love triangle through the churches and then the community, and then hopefully the rest, everybody else would kick in and stuff like that. But through acts of love.
Okay, so Mimi's gonna tax everyone. Mimi is taxing that ass like a crooked cop. He's taxing that ass. Cindy is gonna make us love everyone, and if you don't, then she's gonna drop a bomb on you. That sounds familiar.
I'm gonna love bomb everybody
Julie,
with.
hold on. I'm giving a rundown. Julie is sending everyone to an island, so Australia. Steph is gonna have all of us on the train, so that would be fun. Train ride across the country. That'll be dope. Keisha is going to end child hunger. We're all gonna be able to go to the doctor. And there was something else that Keisha's gonna do that's real nice. Casey's was right in alignment with Keisha, but Casey said something that I don't remember. It's something that Casey said that I don't remember.
Casey was more child hunger. Keisha was homelessness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. And so that's it. So let's go to Pod. Hi, Pod.
Hi there.
How you
You
feeling?
gotta catch me up. What's the topic of the day?
If you rule the
Not
world,
like-
if you rule the
What?
world, if you rule the world, Keisha, how'd you just do the balloons? Pod, if you rule the world, Keisha doesn't even know that she did the balloons. Pod, if you ruled the world, what would you change? What would you keep? What would you do differently? What would you do?
Jesus. Honestly, knowing my understanding of who runs the world and whose kingdom this is, I want to be able to run the world. because it's more than it's a spiritual thing to anything.
Okay, so
So
if you ran the world spiritually, or
no, so the thing, that's the thing. I want to be able just to my understanding of my understanding of my limited as a person. Even though we can imagine how we would do it, but my understanding of who is God is and who is Satan is, I want to be able to do none of the running it because it's out of my hands.
but we know it's out of your hands. That's the beauty of the question.
Yeah, that's why I was hesitant to
So
jump
you
in.
wouldn't change? Would you change anything, or you just let it keep going the way it's going?
Honestly, you could try to change it, but just dealing with mankind and the will that we got is gonna be corrupt regardless if you put a standard in, if you make people pay taxes. I also say if you set this limit, at the end of the day, mankind will find its way to finagle the system because of our free will. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like I know I'm a Debbie Downer sometimes with these type of topics, but
No, I mean your
it's just
answer is you wouldn't change anything because you reject the idea of imagining a world where you could.
yeah, because at the end of the day, if you put your I was just listen to the last 5-10 minutes. You put your piece, your idea of it in it. It's still like a dictatorship in everything everybody doing. You're not giving nobody the free will. Say Julie put people on an island. That's a dictatorship. You know what I'm saying? You if you don't do this right, you gonna get struck down. That's a dictatorship. You know what I'm saying? So nobody have no free will at the
So
end of the day.
so if you ruled the world, then you would just let everybody do whatever they wanted to do.
Not in that instant, but it'd be consequences though. Because
But
your
if okay,
decision.
well, right. So if there's consequences, right, and you have the power to delegate and dish out these consequences, then you would have to take some action, right?
Yeah, after their decision making, yeah, that's why I say, well, I wouldn't change the thing at all because I know who this world naturally and spiritual. I know who kingdom this world is.
But
You
you
know what I'm saying? That's why.
hold on, Pa. I understand. What I'm saying is this, though, Pa, because you're saying you wouldn't change anything, but then you're also saying that you would dole out some type of consequences.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be different than like it is now. That's why I basically say it wouldn't be no different. I might change something here and there, but at the end of the day, but you know what?
So stop right there. What would you change? What's the here and there?
I'll try to implement
Tory stupid.
what is it?
Tory said free willy-nilly, we run wild.
Free with no, you can run wild if you want to, but listen, I will try to make I will make the consequences to hit you a little bit more different. Some people walk around, not to this day. The people walk around like there's no consequences. Like there's no there's no consequence for their decision making in life. They could go in life and go head first and reckless, and then when they do have it, they like, wait a minute, what is this? This is consequences. So I'll make consequences a little bit more realer to a person that lives their life like that.
When you say realer, do you mean more harsh punishment?
Not. You can say that, just something to make them wake up and think about going head first before anything. You know what I'm saying? Before I go head first to this, did my decision doing this, I might have to think about it twice. You
Okay.
know.
Okay, because I'm trying to figure out, because I hear what you're saying, but I want to know what I like to hear people explain their thoughts. So tell me one thing that you feel like people are doing that is reckless right now.
Oh, this is simple. It's reckless. It's not. You might like is that reckless? But it is reckless. Not caring for each other. no lack of love, no lack of mercy and grace. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Okay, stop
So-
right there. Let's compartmentalize it, Pod. Let's go step by step. So
Okay.
you feel like people are being reckless by not showing enough love, right?
Right, right.
Okay. Now you rule the world, and you're saying you would implement consequences for not being loving. Am I tracking correctly?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So someone has committed an act or not taking an act, and it's not with love. What consequence are you putting? Give me an idea of a consequence that you would impose upon this person.
The simple as when somebody mistreat a person that's homeless, or how they act to get, how they say, get away from my business, you know what I'm saying, or get away from my area. You're not belonging because their situation, momentary situation of being down. I believe their consequence would be if I see that they'll have to do a community work of just helping out some type of people for a whole year, because you don't have to act like that. Let somebody go through the motions of being down for a minute so they can build themselves back up. You know what I'm saying? Even if they don't want to build themselves back up, you handle them the same way like if somebody just struggling. You know what I'm saying? And just can't find their way up yet. In that aspect.
I got you. I understand what you're saying now. See, we got there, Pod. It makes sense to me. It do. It makes sense to me. I understand what you're saying now. I didn't know what you was talking about at first. Well, I knew what you was talking about, but I'm like, this ain't that hard.
Right. That's why I say sometimes I'll be trying to do the little double dutch, trying to get in these conversations. I'm like, do I want to say something? I'll be watching the but it's all good though,
Well, it's kind of like when we have certain conversations, in order to be able to have the conversation without it completely running off the rails, it's kind of like a game, like a football field or a basketball court, where you have to have an out of bounds, or you have to have a boundary, right? And so you could take anything that any of us come up with and come up with a reason why it wouldn't work, or why it would mess society up, or tilt something one way and be messed up on the on the outcome and stuff like that. So in order to combat that from happening, I say, just what is it that you would change? And it's not, we're not going to give you a bunch of pushback on it, because I'm more interested in the way people think about if they had the ability to do so, as opposed to chopping down their ideas.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you were like, if you said to me, I'd make everyone eat cupcakes and lettuce for breakfast, I'd be like, why? But I wouldn't so much then turn and say, well, then we're not getting the vitamins that we need. Like, we know we're not getting the vitamins we need. I'm just interested as to why you think everyone should have cupcakes and lettuce.
Right.
So
Yeah, I get you.
you and Cindy can start a world together though, because y'all are like the moral rulers of the world. Y'all are like, hey, you better be nice, or Pod's gonna send you to community service and Cindy's gonna strike you with a lightning bolt.
Oh, no. I'll go down the petty road real fast here.
Now I came in about the taxing thing. What was the taxing thing about taxing the church?
Mimi won't tax everybody. That's all it is. Mimi is fed up with the idea that I, and everyone else here is paying taxes out the wazoo while making a little bit of money. And then a bunch of millionaires and billionaires on both sides of the aisle are caking it up, and the loopholes benefit them and not the everyday people. And when you genuinely listen to both sides and their arguments, if you listen to both of the extreme sides of the arguments, they're pissed off about the same thing.
Okay.
They are. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to the super far right people and the super far left people, when it comes to taxes, they all mad. They all just angry.
Is it just because they don't want to pay it, or
no? It's because the system is set up in a way. So the system is set up in the American tax system is set up in a way to reward people who create jobs and businesses and all of that good stuff, and it's set up to punish you more so if you just go to work.
Mm.
Right. Well, now most of us just go to work. So that's why I say I don't want to pay tax. I don't really want to pay. I don't want to pay taxes. You know what I'm saying? I think just as a principle, I think it's unfair for me to do something, receive compensation, and someone else to take it and do whatever it is they want to. As a principle, I stand on that. Now, as we if we delve into the nuances of it, and you say, well, you know, we got kids dying of starvation over here, so we need a little bit of money, and we need these roads built so you can drive to work, so we need a little bit of money. Cool. But what's happened is, in reality, is I'm going to work. I'm messing with Lil. Put my life on the line. I'm putting my life on the line every night. You take my money, right? And then you take my money, and then you use my money to do things that I'm adamantly against. And when you listen to some people from other countries, the American people, we will be like, yo, that's not us, that's our leaders. And they're like, well, first of all, you voted for them and you allowed it to continue. And so while we're not directly angry at you for dropping the bomb, we're angry at you for allowing a system to exist by where they take your money. They don't, there's not no, oh, you can give us what you think is right. No, Chris Rock, you get your check, money gone. They take your money, they buy a bomb, they bomb them. And people on both sides of the aisles are kind of like, yo, it's messed up. Meanwhile, all of that's happening. Everybody from George Soros to Trump and everybody else and Musk and whoever else are utilizing the reward system of corporations to avoid paying their what people would say is their fair share.
Right.
So that's how the taxes conversation came about. You could have the taxes conversation for an eternity though, simply because of the way that's why I don't know if you were here when I asked Mimi the question, like if you're going to tax them, then you, in order for that taxing them to begin to work, you would have to implement like a hard cap on pricing, because what happens now is if you tax a corporation, they just turn around and raise the price of the product. And then the consumer who's now paying the higher taxes is also dealing with inflation from the implementation of the tax.
Right. No, I get what you said, but but the thing is, I understand how she felt, and in the system was, if you ever did the history before before Caesar and them did what they did, the system was just simple. You give to what you got to give to, and everything will be established, and everything will be even equaled out. But when Caesar and them got into it, they didn't like that. So there's two types of ways of taxing people. It was the church way, and it was Caesar way. So what he did, he got rid of the church way and then made the system. That's what our system is basically made up on. So I get what Mimi said. I know it sucks, but it was one simple way. Everybody pay their dues. Everybody get an equal amount of their dues. People, you know what I'm saying? It was a great system involved until man put his hand in for everything. I just say blame everything on mankind. That's why I just said it. You know what I'm saying? That we just got to figure out how we can get it right. But okay, I digress. Love y'all.
Cindy, what you got?
Gonna ask Mimi if she was gonna do the presidential tax, because presidents get to be tax free.
Everybody, all of them,
Everybody paying taxes under Mimi regime. All paying taxes.
Everybody.
Get your motherfucking money up. We got some art schools to build.
That's right. We need to teach folks to crochet. God dang it. And my fingers starting to hurt.
They put their hands and keep the guns out. I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
Who hasn't gone? So we got Dr. Hawk, Dr. Fenton, Tara, and Lil. Dr. Hawk, you there or you shopping? Dr. Hawk be in the grocery store.
Yeah, she do.
She be in the grocery store like a bug,
Or the gym.
Yeah, she was in the gym She was in the gym last time. She not there. Tara, are you there? Tara. I might actually get out here at 7:30 today. Y'all don't want to talk. Somebody just moved. Oh, Tara
It's
says,
me.
hey. Oh, hi, Dr. Hawk. What you doing?
Hey y'all. Picking Kai up from work. His car is in the shop.
Oh, okay. Good, good, good. Casey said I'll be on
But
LinkedIn and
coming.
Facebook talking about my event. Yo, the link for Casey's event is on there. You said you're starting at 7:30. All right, so we're gonna wrap this joint up so we can watch a little bit of Casey's joint. So
Mhm.
Dr. Hawk, if you ruled the world, what would you do? What would you change? What would you do?
It was a whole lot of stuff I was thinking about. I
Okay.
would eradicate all the isms except for like Buddhism and spiritualism, but like the racism, capitalism, sexism. I would eradicate all of that, ageisms. But the thing that's come to my mind is to equally distribute all of the wealth of the world evenly to everybody. So, so you don't have the whole idea of people like risking it all or either, compromising themselves to keep up with the Joneses because everybody's the Joneses, so to say.
That's why I asked you in the joint, and we'll delve into it later. If everyone's a journalist, doesn't that mean all of us are like equally poor?
Or we're equally wealthy. I'm half full, glass half full.
Yeah, but if there's a limited amount of resources and everyone has access to those resources, wouldn't we end up running out of the resources?
No, because everybody still has to go to work. You still can make money, but I'm looking at it like this. Everybody has their niche. There's a strength finder that we do for kids in high school, and you would contribute to society based on where you belong. So it's the same resources, but we're equally rich so they won't deplete because they're being equally kind of spread around. That's just my,
I got
my
you. I
thought.
got you. I mean, I've heard people kind of, allude to that, and whether it's in the country or on a world scale.
Mhm.
And whenever I hear the counter argument, it always makes me wonder, like, like what would that look like? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
How would that play out in reality?
So, and I'm like, okay, so salaries for wherever your niche is, they're the same regardless of what job if you're a doctor, if that's where your strengths say you need to go, you might have the same salary as a teacher or somebody that works at the, you know,
Huh.
that's just my thought. If
So
I ruled the world.
I got you. I got you. So, but you would have it set up so that, let's say I should be a police officer based on my skill set, but you think, let's say I want to be a police officer, but you think I'd be better off being a teacher. Do I have to be a teacher?
It depends on because you have to, before you enter into society as an adult, you have to take this strength finder to see what your gift is, your talent that God gave you. And that's the path that you have to go.
Oh, okay. I got you. Interesting. So I gotta look that up too. All right.
I
Yeah,
was
that's just
I was thinking that too. I was gonna stump her with that, but good one, Shells. I was thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Last one is Dr. Fenton and then Lil, if Lil wants to. I know Lil's at AHG. Hi, Dr. Fenton. Lil, that's what I was gonna say. It sounded like the movie, like the Divergent joint, where they had to do what they do. Bye, Instagram. We out. Dr. Fenton, you there? No. Okay, cool. Lil, you there? I don't have an answer for this, just to let y'all know. If y'all are waiting for me to give y'all an answer. All right, cool.
You better come up with one,
I mean, I'll come up with one.
because you done made us come up with one.
Yeah, I know. But I did
Okay,
it
let's
fair
get it.
because I could have just like cherry picked y'all and then just came up with something.
No, I want something unique, sir.
Let me think. If I ruled the world,
Everybody would take their power back.
everybody would take their power back. I would one of the things, and I'll just use it kind of the way y'all did in terms of like our real lives. Because if I really ruled the world, that we would be able to like travel at the speed of light and then stop
Yep.
on time and do all this other kind of crazy spiritual shit that I really want to be able to do. But in today's society, I happen to believe that they have cures for diseases that are killing people that they're not releasing. I would release those cures. I don't know who the hell gonna pay for them, but them shits is at CVS behind the counter for $5.
I love it.
Right. So cure diseases. I would have it set up so that if we're going to have a school system that kids have to be a part of, I would have it set up so that they have to go through a confidence building process, a self-awareness process, an emotional intelligence process. I would make everyone learn about how the brain works in terms of what happens to you during fight, flight, or freeze. I will put people through trainings to prepare them for real life circumstances so that people don't get stuck. And I would try to construct society or an economic system in a way that was more built upon inner peace, happiness, family, and taking care of one another, as opposed to feeling like we're in this perpetual rat race to the age of 70 or 75 or whatever it is. I don't know how I would do it, but I know there are countries where work isn't the most important thing per se. You know, vacations are longer, the leave, paternal and maternal leave, and then maybe they work 6 hours and then they take a break and they all go to the bar and drink for a little while. It's just not as serious. Yeah. And I think the last thing I would do, I would just probably give everyone the ability to see themselves. Like if I could give everyone the ability to see themselves the way God sees them, so that we can all know what it is that we want to know, right? Not from a knowledge standpoint, but just to see ourselves, right? That would be pretty dope. So that's what I would do. It's 7:32. I did a good job. 7:33. 3 minutes over is not too bad, and everyone had a chance to rule the world for 10 or 15 minutes or whatever the case may be. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Nas is my guy. So y'all know I sit at work all night and listen to Nas and all of that good stuff. And I appreciate y'all. So before we part with
Everyone loves an extra $100 in their pocket. He sure does. They do too. Have a TurboTax expert file your taxes for you by March 31st to get $100 back instantly. Only from Intuit TurboTax.
it's my guy. I was listening to Lauryn Hill album last night too.
I wonder, will it take me under? I don't know. Imagine smoking weed in the street without cops harassing. Imagine going to court with no trial. Lifestyle cruising blue Bahama waters. No welfare supporters. More conscious of the way we raise our daughters. Days are shorter, nights are colder. Feeling like life is over. These snakes strike like a cobra. The world's hot. My son got knocked. Evidently, it's elementary. They want us all gone eventually. Trooping out of state for a plate. Knowledge. If coke was cooked without the garbage, we'd all have the top dollars. Imagine everybody flashing. Fashion, designer clothes. Lacing your click up with diamond rolls. Your people rolling dough, no parole, no rubbers. Going law, imagine law with no undercovers. Just some thoughts for the mind. I take a glimpse into the sky, watch the blimp read, the world is mine. Imagine that. I free all my sons.
Love and baby.
If you could be mine, we both shine. Still living for today in these last days of time. It be paradise life relaxing. Black, Latino, and Anglo-Saxon. I'm on the exchange, the range, cast, Lord Roberts and Bass. Free at last, brand new whips to craft. Then we laugh in the illa path. The villa houses for the crew, how we do. Trees for breakfast. Dime sexes have been stretches. So many years of depression make me vision the better living. Type of place to raise kids in. Opening eyes to the lies. History's told foul, but I'm as wise as the old owl. Plus the gold child, seeing things like I was controlling. Click rolling. Tricking 6 digits on kicks and still holding. Trips to Paris. I civilize every savage. Give me one shot, I turn trite life to lavish. Political prisoners set free, stress free. No work release, purple and threes and jet skis. Feel the wind breeze at West Indies. I think Coretta Scott King, mayor of the cities, and reverse things to Willies. It's down foul, but every girl I meet that goes downtown. I'd open every cell in Attica, send them to Africa.
Yo, they be killing that shit.
Imagine that. Could it be if you could be mine, we both shine? Still living for today. And these last days of time.
Walk right up to the sun, hand in hand. We'll walk right up to the sun, be whole and land. We'll walk right up to the sun, hand in hand. We'll walk right up to the sun, we gon' land.
You love to hear the story, how the thugs live and worry. Duck down in car seats, heaps mandatory. Running from Jake, getting chased, hunger for pace. These are the breaks, many mistakes go down out of state. Wait, I had to let it marinate. We carry weight, trying to get laced. Flip the ace stack to save. Millionaire plan to keep the cat with your cock hammer. Making moves in Atlanta, back and forth scrambler. Cause you can have all the chips. Be poor or rich, still nobody want a nigga have a shit. If I rule the world and everything in it, sky's the limit. I push Q4, 5 infinite. It wouldn't be no such thing as jealousies or beef felony. Strictly living longevity to the destiny I thought I'd never see, but reality struck. Better find out before your time's out. What the fuck? Imagine that.
All right, I'm done. I just enjoyed that song, so I just figured I'd listen to it right quick. So as we part ways, I like that song because on a deep level, the idea of like just a regular dude broke from the hood, imagining what he would do if he did rule the world, and the way he breaks down all the things he would do, I'm like, that dude's brilliant. He's a genius. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Dr. Hope, just to let you know, I got Tara scheduled for her free coaching session. So that's coming up next week. And I will see y'all on Wednesday. The link for Casey's event is right here. There you go. So click that little link right there and go holler at Casey. In the meantime, in between time, take your power back, baby. Peace.